A few years ago, someone came up to me and began to share with me about a dream that they had concerning our church and concerning our church being a hospital for those who were very sick. She began to share about how she saw our church as a place of hope, a place of love, a place of strength with people dealing with cancer. I was so excited to hear that because I believe that also. Trinity Church is an amazing church, and I wanted to be able to be a part of what God was doing. Well, fast forward that a few years, and I began to really understand what God was doing in the lives of not only Trinity Church, but in my family. You see, on July 15th, 2015, I got a phone call that will forever change my life. It's something that no one wants to hear, but I heard the words, "You have cancer." It was that day that forever changed me. It was that day that I will never be the same again. It was on that day that I call it a beautiful journey that I was on. You may ask, beautiful? Yeah, it was beautiful. Because it was during that time that I felt God so real in my life. It was a day that I was sitting in the chemo chair that I felt God speak to me very clearly and use these exact words, "Brave is beautiful." I wrote that down and I just began to think about that. Because brave is beautiful, but I didn't understand what that meant exactly. You see, I had walked through the cancer center so many times, saw the look of hope gone, sadness, tears. Every time I would enter, I would have to pray. We prayed that wouldn't jump on me. Fear would not jump on me. And as I began to sit in that chemo chair, my very first chemo, it was on that day that I had to really understand what it meant to trust God with all of my heart, to have the hope instilled in my family and in my life. It was on that day, I didn't know it at the time, but it was on that day that my life would change forever, and that what the enemy meant for evil, God was going to turn it around for good. So fast forward that a year and a half, I sit here before you and I'm so grateful that God has been faithful. It's a hard journey, but for me, it was a beautiful journey. You say beautiful? Yes. It's been beautiful because God has shown himself strong, and it was a choice that I chose to make. If I had to go through something like this, I was going to go through it fighting. And that's where Brave is Beautiful ministry started, in a chemo chair. When I was very sick, when I've lost almost all my hair at that time, I was desperate for answers. I was desperate to trust God for my future, for my family. It was sitting in the chemo chair, Brave is Beautiful was born. So here we are, a year and a half later. And everything God would show me and tell me, I would write it down. I would think about it. You see, it was in the chemo chair that I really was fearful. I didn't know the future. And I felt like God was telling me, you're going to walk through some of the difficult times of your life. You're going to walk through them, though. You will not be burned. I'm going to help you. I'm going to talk with you. I'm going to comfort you. I'm going to give you what you need to make it through this. But you have to trust in me. That's what I want to share with you today. Brave is beautiful. And a year and a half later, I have been praying, I have been believing and seeking that somebody needs to hear what I have to say. I can remember looking through all the cards, all the many cards. This whole basket is full of cards. just some of the things that were given to me throughout my journey that I was on, and it helped me so much. I look back at these cards and I'm reminded of God's grace and God's love through the difficult times of my life. I wanted to do something that will help others because, see, I believe that what's happened to me has happened to so many other people, and it's a choice that we make to how we deal with it. I choose joy. I choose to live a life full of love, full of hope. And I want to be able to tell others about Jesus when they are facing the most difficult time of their life. And so as I received all these cards and all these gifts, I wanted to do that with others. This is where the Brave is Beautiful ministry box was born. This box is full of hope. This box is full of what I used in my life to get past the darkest days of my life. And I want to share that with so many people. The things inside this box are what helped me through some of the difficult times of my life. I've compiled them all together in the process of a year and a half, and I want to give them to people who need to find that hope as well. My prayer is not to give anybody this box because the disease is so horrific. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. But my prayer is to give this box to someone, maybe a brother, a sister, a mom, a friend that's going through some of the difficult times of their life. And when they receive this box, either by mail or maybe we'll hand deliver them, it will be a box of hope. And inside the box is going to give life, to give hope, to give love to people who need it the most. Some of the things inside the box: they will receive a little bracelet, this Brave is Beautiful shirt that I have on. But also we have, for the guys, Brave is Strong. We also have a journal with a pen, because that was one of the things that I did, is begin to write my experiences, write what I was feeling, and it really helped me. And so I wanted to give this to someone who was facing treatments right now. This is a bag that they can take to their chemo treatments or their radiation treatments. And it says, "'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me." Because you do have a lot of fight left in you. You don't feel like fighting right now, I know. You have to keep going and know that God is with you. This devotional book, I read this every day, whether I felt like it or not. It's full of devotions about how God is going to help you. You need Him more than you know right now. And my most favorite is this Brave is Beautiful scripture book. This ministry book means a lot to me because my husband printed out these scriptures for me. And I placed them all over my house. And I read them every day. I've compiled them into this book because I needed to read these scriptures that God had promised over my life. You need to read them too. So this will be a part of the Brave is Beautiful ministry box. So when you get this box, I want you to think about how there are people who care about you. There are people that know exactly what you're going through. And the devil will say to you, "You're all alone, nobody cares." But that's just not true. You see, you're in a fight for your life, literally. I often hear that you choose your battles. And although that may be true for parenting or marriage, that's not true for everything. I didn't choose cancer. Cancer chose me. I chose to fight, and I'm encouraging you today to fight as well. So will you partner with me? For $29.40 a box, You can help sponsor someone who's going through the hardest times of their life. Maybe you want to dedicate this box to someone who's lost their life to this terrible disease. Let's come together and let's lock arms into helping those who are fighting literally for their life. They need to know that they're not alone. They need to know that there's someone who cares. When they receive this box, whether we know them or whether we don't, this box is going to bring hope and encouragement. It's going to bring love. Will you partner with me today? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for letting God speak to you. And I just ask that you pray. Pray for those who need it the most. Pray for those who are going through a diagnosis of cancer. Pray for those who are going through the most difficult time of their life. You will never know what heart you are changing by just giving today. Thank you so much.